There we go. There we go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Shane, welcome to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. First off, I want to express my great gratitude for you joining us here on short notice this time around. So huge kudos to you and of course your executive assistant Emily for being able to squeeze you in today.
Oh, absolutely. I'm more than happy to help you out, Mike, and Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well. So what what business does the city get down to then when the calendar flips over to January 1st? What's the first thing on the plate?
So, it's still, I think it's more status quo. It's just kind of, in government, everything is cyclical and seasonality. So, you just kind of fight through the snow right now. And kind of, that from Thanksgiving through New Year's, it's kind of not really a big government time. People are thinking about the holidays and family and all those to-dos. And so now people started coming around City Hall more, starting to plan for spring projects, remodeling, building. Those things will start to happen more so as the month goes on.
Yes, because right away, obviously, we got hit with some snow over the Christmas holiday. We've had less than ideal conditions for moving and clearing snow the last couple of weeks. So I know dealing with that is probably something that your crews are doing more than anything else right now, just making sure everybody can get around.
Yeah, that's our downtown. They pull out the snow and they take it away because it just makes it more efficient down there. So that becomes a big project once they do that. They try to do that throughout the night. So a lot of our crews are on at the nighttime, and there's not, they leave around noon. They work midnight to noon, doing that over a course of a couple nights. So they did that lately. But yeah, it's getting that snow, clearing it off, getting another snowstorm, clearing it off, and those are the tough ones. If you can just get it all and be done with that one time. But with our side streets, we have the council has a policy of I believe it's 4 inches or more, and so if you quite don't get 4 inches, they don't get plowed, and they get packed down icy, and sometimes it can be a little difficult to traverse some of the side streets, by doing that, and so they try to stay on top of that, and and then they're worried about the highways and arterial streets and those kind of main roads.
Yeah, and then of course sidewalks as well. That's everybody's responsibility. You've got to pitch in for your X number of feet of sidewalk to make sure everybody can get around. But of course, not everybody always gets to that on a timely manner.
Yeah, our ordinance is 24 hours after the snowstorm. So, the residential street sidewalks don't get as many complaints. It's on the main roads and the business areas that the sidewalks aren't shoveled. We start getting calls on those. And so 24 hours after the storm, those need to be cleared because people do like to still walk, and they need to be cleared off. And probably that's the biggest type of complaints we get this time of the year are those areas not shoveled.
Yeah, and that's also an ADA thing as well, because people in wheelchairs or people that have to get around that way. Obviously, we all know how difficult it is to get a car through a snowbank. Getting a wheelchair is none easier.
Impossible. Yeah.
Yes,
I agree.
So what is, you said it's 24 hours, and if somebody does not abide by that, if you get a few complaints about it, what can that amount to?
Technically, we'll send them a letter or a notice one time, and then our crews will come over and clear them off for you, which is not a cheap adventure. And so that ends up being put on the tax bill at the end of the year. So we highly encourage people to keep their sidewalks cleared.
Mm-hmm. And I know some cities, Wausau does, Stevens Point does, you make a kind of a salt sand mixture available to residents as well if they need it. Do they do that in Wisconsin Rapids as well?
Yeah, we actually have on a lot of main corners, we have big bins, and they fill it up with salt sand mixture. And so people can come there and take scoops out and fill up buckets. And so we make that available to our residents.
Awesome. So make sure you keep your sidewalks clear, I guess, this time of year, because, I think it's 75 days or so until spring. We don't have that long to go, right?
No, but I think we have the hardest part yet to come.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Let's stay positive here. Let's stay
Okay.
positive here.
Okay.
One thing positive, I know you're certainly going to appreciate. Last week I had a chance to chat with Governor Tony Evers. He took a tour of the of Spash High School, and I was able to ask him about shared revenue, and he basically gave me the guarantee saying, one way or another, you guys are going to be seeing an increase in that shared revenue from the state. I guess the obvious question for me is, because I always sometimes like to think of the not obvious questions as obvious for me. If you were to get like $1 million extra from the state and see that pop into the checking account on your city issued mobile banking app, which I'm sure you have on your phone, right? What would the city do with an extra $1 million from the state?
So, what we've done in the past and since I've been here is you cannot, or at least I don't support doing a new project that's going to have long-term maintenance to it. So it's really about, for me, it's about maybe putting in some more road projects, trying to improve those because we know infrastructure is, always going to be a struggle. And so any extra money should go towards fixing our roads or doing a pavement replacement or mill and overlay projects, something to improve ride quality and the quality of our infrastructure. To me, would be the priority, or it depends on the time of the year, maybe when because we do a debt issue every year for our road construction projects. So if there's an extra $1 million, maybe we wouldn't have to take out additionally, we could reduce the debt amount by that much to borrow and kind of put it those type of projects. It would be nice to do something nice and fluffy, but I just don't think we're in a position to do that. We've got debt that we need to take care of and not add to it. And we have staff that have the cost, and as we add in more kind of things that they have to maintain, it becomes more difficult, and you have to look at additional staffing or not maintaining other things. So it's trying to find that balance, but I wouldn't support or recommend a big new project for $1 million.
Yeah, so you're saying you wouldn't say, okay, we're going to do this fixture downtown. We're going to put something new up in the park. You would be looking for something that would benefit to all residents, because obviously street projects are something that everybody uses, I guess, be them residents or be them people passing through town to a Rafters game or something like that.
Absolutely. And we're still working through the ARPA funding. And the council's kind of leaned towards the direction of putting that towards roads and infrastructure and those type of projects also. So it would kind of fit in right with that.
Yeah, and I know obviously people would hear something like that, and I'm throwing out $1 million as an arbitrary number. We don't know what that's
going to be. $10.
Yeah, maybe it could be $10. Who knows? Okay. I could be off by a few zeros, but because we don't know the formula yet, because obviously you have your ideas, the Republican-controlled legislature has theirs, and Governor Evers has his. So it's a matter of distilling this down and seeing how it's going to work out. So this is something that right now you've got to think about, but it's also hard to say what we're going to do without knowing what the actual number will be.
And any chance I can, we have state highways, connecting roads going through our community that are, in my opinion, and I would say the community would probably agree, that are long overdue to be taken care of. And it's literally an 80-20. So state does 80%, we do 20%. And though we have projects that are in desperate need of that. And, if they can allocate funding towards DOT projects and communities on their roads, I know there have been a lot of road work being done, but a lot of times it's about mileage. If you're doing a rural road or a rural highway, it's just, it's paint or it's asphalt replacement. But when there are roads coming in through the communities, there's a lot more expense because of the infrastructure in the ground. So I don't know, sometimes I question the priority of those projects because you can't do as much distance for the amount of money as you can outside of a community. And it'd be nice to see some of that money be put into their roads that go through communities that I think get neglected a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. And I know you've got a couple of those projects on your mind as well that you're clamoring with the DOT for. So hopefully we can see that come to see that get scheduled at least in the next few years. One more thing before we move on from this. So I know city funding is complicated. You get, an extra shared revenue. That might be a one-time deal. It might be an ongoing deal. We don't know about it. So if somebody hears this and says, okay, well, the city is going to get X number of dollars, does that mean they can decrease my property tax bill by this? Not exactly that easy, because that could be a one-time thing. It could be a 3-year thing. We don't know, right?
And that's the problem. Yeah, because a one-time windfall is just a windfall, and property taxes you can't chase up and down. Ideally it would be to incrementally look at your budgets and keep it status quo or reduce it if you could. But you get that money. I think you need to put it in to something that's going to cost taxpayers in the future. ARPA project, we're looking at our Centralia Senior Center roof. We're talking maybe $500,000 to do roof and some more to do some rooftops. And that's a project that's going to be a taxpayer project down the road. And if we can use money allocated through ARPA or through a one-time or some money through from the state, those are the type of projects where I think it's important to put that money in there, because we're going to have to pay for it eventually. And if we can not borrow to do that, then that's better for the taxpayers in the long run.
Indeed, saves everybody money that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, got to think about it sometimes like maintaining your house. You got the money right now, maybe roll some things into one, restructure your debt, and boom, you've got your roof done, and maybe you're saving money for another project somewhere else.
It's really about, I think, planning for long term, or in the next few years on expenses that we know they're going to have to be there. And if we can take care of them through this process, I think it's better for the taxpayers.
No doubt about it. One more thing before we let you go, then obviously we got to ask you about the dog park, because I know you're just really wanting to get that thing going. Where are we at right now with preparing the site? Are we any closer to maybe outfitting it as well? Do you have a citizen group that's come forward and said, yeah, absolutely, we want to do some help to make this a great amenity for the city?
So we the last couple of days they've started clearing a lot of the deadfall in there. So they've got equipment in there, and they're kind of removing and working on a storm damage that's been there for many years. So I got a picture today, and it's kind of opening up, which is a good sign. And they've got some ditch to fill in there, so they're going to work on that. And so that started to happen, which is the perfect time with our crews this time of the year. We don't have any citizens group yet. I think what will happen once we kind of get it constructed, there may be a group that might form this because they see a need or a want that they want there, and they can kind of, we can kind of support and help them organize that and whatever fundraising project they want to run, and kind of work with those groups. But we don't have a specific group yet. But hopefully, when it's done, somebody will come forward and want to kind of take on some of those extra amenities, maybe.
Yeah, indeed. Otherwise, if you don't, let's say over a several year period, will you try to go through and say, we've got $30,000 in the budget. Let's buy this, and this, or let's do this to upgrade the area as well, because obviously this is going to fall under the city. You aren't turning it over to a private group. The city is going to be running this for the foreseeable future.
Correct. It's we're taking the responsibility of the waste stations, any mowing, maintenance type things there, kind of the basic amenities. But I could see maybe a picnic area eventually, or maybe a pavilion kind of thing. We'll have to kind of see how that comes about. But yeah, we're taking it on as a city project, and we'll support any groups that want to maybe participate down the road, or if they have some ideas. We'd be more than happy to entertain those discussions and work with them. But yeah, as a basic dog park, there will be a multi-acre dog park there, fenced in, and a small dog park and a large dog park, and a nice parking lot, and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time. Look forward to chatting again in the near future. But I guess before we let you go, what's the biggest goal for the city here this year as we open up 2023?
Our biggest, I guess my personal biggest goal is to keep things operating status quo, and responding to the citizens' needs, and issues within the community and to hopefully support further economic development.
That's pretty simple, right? That's what the job's
I'm a
all
simple
about,
guy.
right?
I'm a simple guy.
Indeed.
Not a lot
Indeed.
of bells and whistles here.
Yeah. Again, we appreciate the time. We'll look forward to chatting again next month.
Great. Thanks, Mike. See you.